Listen to your heart. Your heart is never wrong. Always face the truth. Your heart won't lead you on.
Welcome to Soul Wealth, wealthy conversations that nurture the soul. Get ready for an enlightening conversation that will nurture your soul and help you live your best life. Now, here's your host, Dr. Vikki Johnson.
Welcome to the Soul Wealth Radio Show. I am your host, Dr. Vikki Johnson, here on 96.3 HD4 and DCRadio.gov. Here on Soul Wealth Radio, we have wealthy conversations that nurture the soul. And my conversations have been incredibly powerful with some beautiful, beautiful people. And my guest today is no different. She is a mother, certified life soul coach, author, speaker, and veteran of the United States Navy, driven by her passion to provoke those who have yet to find the unique power in their authenticity. She loves helping people, especially women, come to recognize their strength and significance by breaking free from the bondage of their past. It is her core belief that every human being has been given a specific set of gifts, talents, and abilities that, coupled with their experience, exposure, and passion, makes their existence necessary in the earth. She is positioned and purposed to help others overcome internal obstacles, to identify and ignite their distinct set of capabilities, and empower them to cultivate and execute their God-given assignment. As an inspirational speaker, my guest uses her personal life lessons and principles outlined in her books to incite and inspire women to harness the power of every experience as a catalyst for living a purposeful life. She is also the visionary behind Sacred Soul Inner Circle, a boutique life coaching firm that seamlessly fuses coaching and concentrated meditation therapy that is proven to be extremely effective in facilitating accelerated results. She holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in Business Administration from Strayer University, a certification in life coaching from the Life Coach Training Institute, and a professional certificate in executive leadership with an emphasis in change management leadership from Cornell University School of Industrial and Labor Relations. She is totally committed to using every ounce of her education, her expertise, and her experience to facilitate the success of others. Her life's greatest joy is that of being a mother to her only child, Mr. Christopher Lee Anthony II. Welcome to the Soul Wealth Radio Show, my beautiful sister, Kelli Ware. How are you today?
I am very well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am glad to be here.
Wonderful. What was your experience listening to me read your bio?
It was kind of surreal. I wrote that because it is the truth, but to hear someone else read it out loud, I kind of got goosebumps.
I love the goosebumps. What made it goosebumpy for you?
To hear your purpose audibly does something to you. And it kind of brought things back to the forefront. You know, you can kind of get so caught up in the day-to-day of living and in even operating in purpose. But this brought me back to center hearing you read that.
I love that. I love your response. I love your experience. And I take the time to read your bio. You know, last year when the pandemic started, which was 2020, first grateful to be here in 2021. But in 2020, it caused me to pause and slow down and really be where my feet are, you know, be fully present. And as a speaker and someone invited to events and or interviews, people frequently request an abbreviated bio or a 2 to 3 sentence introduction. And, you know, my quagmire had been, how am I going to squeeze my life into one or two paragraphs or 2 to 3 sentences? It's really difficult to do. So I take the time here on this platform and my show to read bios in their entirety because you took the time to invest time, money, energy, sacrifice, and the like to become your best self professionally and personally, and you took the time to set the goals and achieve them. So it's an opportunity for me to celebrate that, to honor you, and just applaud your tenacity and your resilience and all that you have done and gone through, Kelli. I'm really proud of you. We were just talking before we came on air, about how long we have known each other, and just to see your evolution is a beautiful thing. So thank you for being here today, and thank you for your yes when I sent you the invitation. I really appreciate it, and you.
Well, it was without a doubt a yes. And whenever you call, I am there.
I appreciate that. Listen, if you take away all of your accomplishments, your titles, your functions, who is Kelli at her core? Who are you at your core without any of that stuff? Like just bare naked Kelli. Who is Kelli?
Bare naked Kelli is goofy. Bare naked Kelli is happy, genuinely and authentically happy. Bare naked Kelli is a lover. Bare naked Kelli is settled, stable, peaceful. That's bare naked Kelli.
I love it. I love it. And I can attest that is true. I can attest to the truth of that. You are very settled. Kelli, my experience of you is that if you have to go through something tumultuous, or if you have to go through something uncertain, you're the type of person that people want with them. My experience of you is that you're a stabilizer. And so for you to have that self-awareness is really profound to me. It's beautiful. It's a gift. And I mean, it's just really powerful. So yeah, I would describe you the same way. Who or what inspires you, Kelli? Or who and what inspire you?
Who inspires me? Wow. I have so many people that I grab or garner inspiration from. I find inspiration in everything. People, specifically, my son is one of my greatest inspirations.
Yeah.
He is the most adaptable human I've ever seen in my life. For him to go through the things that I put him through as a mother, going through divorce and going through my own evolution, he's always remained steady, never negatively impacted, always ready and available to assist. And not every child can say that. I am a product of a divorced home. I did not have the same response as he did. Mm-hmm. And so he's definitely an inspiration to me. You are one of my biggest inspirations.
Thank you.
And I'm not just saying that because I'm on your radio show. It is absolutely the truth. From the moment I met you, my life has shifted. My thought process has shifted. My ability to persevere and go through shifted when I met you. You opened my eyes to the possibility of more to life than what I was currently at that point experiencing. And you've continued to kind of peel back the layers for me, intentionally and then unknowingly. You've done that for me. Just watching you and how you move and how you operate and how you can take an atmosphere and shift it in such a way that people leaving your presence are better than when they came. That's inspirational to me. I aspire to be that daily. So you are one of my hugest inspirations as well. But like I said, I believe that there's value in everything that we experience in life, every encounter, everything that we are exposed to, there's value. And in that value rests inspiration if you have the eyes to see it. So that's what inspires me.
Wonderful. Listen, understanding that life teaches us many lessons in many ways. What has been one of your greatest lessons, Kelli, that has caused you to pivot? You have such a colorful journey, I'll call it. A veteran coming out of the military, You're creative speaker, you're an author, now you're a coach, you're a leader. What has been one of your greatest lessons that has caused you to pivot?
So when I went through the process of my divorce, it was a rebirthing for me. And that was probably one of the greatest pivots that I had gone through. My normal response to someone treating me poorly is to return the favor, or it was to return the favor. But God spoke to me and he said, Kelli, this time you're going to go through with grace. And so I was not allowed to respond to him in kind, but I had to respond to him in kindness. And that was a difficult thing to do in the beginning. But I saw almost instantly the results that it yielded, such that my encounter with every person, no matter who you are, and no matter how poorly you treat me, is going to be in grace and in kindness. Now, does that mean I'm a pushover? Absolutely not. I will set a boundary and I will enforce the respecting of that boundary, but I will do it in such a way that you will realize your worth and your value, and that you don't have to do that when you turn away. And so that was the greatest pivot for me. Once I went through my divorce with grace and really exuded love to my ex-husband when I didn't want to, that shifted who I was as a person. And it allows me now to encounter anyone with that same level of compassion and grace. I recognized during that time that I'm on a journey, and we're all on a journey. And I'm able to see now, you're responding to me because you're at a certain place in your journey and you haven't quite arrived where you need to arrive in order to treat me with a better level of respect. So there's a certain level of compassion that I did not have before that I gained. And that was kind of the missing piece in my earlier years. And so now that that puzzle has kind of come together, that's where the stability and the settledness and the unbotheredness has originated from.
And you know what's powerful about that transmutation of pain, your pain into power, is now how you have cultivated a really strong, healthy relationship of co-parenting,
Absolutely.
with your son being the focus. That is really powerful, because how many children suffer because the parents can't get beyond their anger and resentment and bitterness to agree that we might not work as husband and wife, but we certainly can choose to work as mother and father to our child or our children to raise amazing humans. So you are really a wonderful, beautiful example of that. Along that same thread, Kelli, share a moment that changed your life forever.
A moment that changed my life forever. The obvious one here would be the day that I gave birth to my son, right? And that absolutely changed me. But a moment that sticks out to me is November of 2005. I walked into what then was the sanctuary at Kingdom Square, into a room where there were like banquet style chairs that were set up in theater or auditorium style. And there was this light-skinned, beautiful woman that was standing at the front of the room, so unassuming, so peaceful and so calm. And I sat in the back, as I typically do when I go to new environments, because I like to kind of scope things out. And this woman opened her mouth and she spoke these words. There's another level of good in God that you have yet to experience. And what you're experiencing now is nothing compared to the good that is coming your way. In that moment, I realized that it was okay to desire more good from God than what I had. in that moment, I was given permission to ask for more without the feeling of guilt. And during that entire women's empowerment session, I learned that there is no pie in the sky, and me asking for more is taking someone else's portion. And that woman was you.
Girl, hush.
Yes, ma'am. What? And I
is that a girl talk?
I think it was a girl talk, or it was part of their women's season. But in that moment, I was set free. And I don't think I ever shared this with you.
You have not. That's why I'm sitting here like, wow, that's really good. Whoever that was, I got to write that down. But yeah, no, you've never shared this. So this is powerful for me too. Thank you. Go ahead.
You shifted me in a way that I walked in that room seeing the world one way, and I left that room seeing the world an entirely different way. Like there was possibility that became a reality for me. And during that time, I was, driving a Mercedes-Benz. I'll never forget you were like, listen, y'all, at the very next girl talk, he said, I met this young woman. She owns her own home at 25. She's driving a Mercedes-Benz. Oh, she got it together. But in that moment, that was the level of good that I had come to just expect. Like, okay, I've gotten enough from God. Here, I got a home, I got a car, and I got a stable job. And that was all that I had been taught to expect. So you opened the floodgates of possibility for me. And you gave me permission to, like I said, to ask God for whatever my heart desired and to not feel guilty about asking of him. And so my life from that moment on went on a trajectory that I could not have put on a vision board. And you were the seed and the catalyst for that. That night in November 2005, my life
write that down
forever.
Or something. How do you?
No, it is forever written on my heart. I promise you, it is.
Wow.
And so from there to now, I have not let you out my sight.
That is true. And I remember highlighting you at that girl talk. I remember when you just said that. I remember saying that because it wasn't that I was impressed alone. Mm-hmm. It was you to me were evidence of what's possible. Mm. And that you don't have to wait until you're 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 to experience things that are beautiful and wonderful and powerful. And this generation and the generation before, the millennials and the generation after, they get it. They came here knowing that. That's why they come out of the gate as entrepreneurs at 18, 19, 20. They are fearless. They don't accept status quo as a requirement. If it doesn't resonate with them, they're like, yeah, no, get out of here with that.
Yep.
And so you back then were a foreshadowing of generations to come, if I can say it that way, which uniquely positions you now to coach them, to lead them, because you were them before they even existed.
Wow.
And that is my experience. Now at 55, I believe, and this is for everyone, that everything that has happened in our lives up to the current moment, wherever the current moment is for us, has prepared us for that moment. And it is one of my greatest joys to have these wealthy conversations that nurture the soul so that people all over the world, this show is heard all over the world, so that people can hear there is nothing too hard for God, and there is nothing that is impossible. If it's in your mind, it's in your future. And so, Kelli, it is one of my great joys to watch you evolve. I'll drive by your Instagram and hit like, drop a heart. but it does something for me in terms of giving me life to just see you taking the principles and applying them, because faith without works is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the truth that you apply and paint your life with that makes you free. Not just the truth you hear, but you then have to apply the truth to your life that makes you free. And that is what you have done. Kelli, what are you grateful for?
I am grateful for my mindset. There is something powerful to be in a position where you give yourself permission to consistently question what you believe to ensure that what you are believing serves your greatest good in this moment. And there are a lot of people that are bound by traditional teachings and old beliefs that are fearful of releasing that for the sake of experiencing life better. And so I am grateful that I have the agility of mind, the flexibility and pliability of thought that allows me or affords me the opportunity to reassess. I am constantly reassessing. Does this work for me in this season? Does this work for me concerning where I am going, where God is taking me, where I am moving? And if it doesn't, I'm able to release it easily because I've become, as you said, attached to nothing but connected to everything.
Yeah.
And so I am grateful for this mindset. It took me some work to get here, but I will never go back to the way I used to be, ever. So I'm grateful for that.
Powerful. What legacy do you want to leave?
The legacy that I want to leave behind is that of possibility. That I want people to look at me and see my life as a whole and know that no matter what it is that you have gone through, that anything really is possible. And none of the possibility is contingent upon anything you've ever done or anything you've ever experienced, such that the love of God opens the door of possibility to you every day. Just like we have new mercies every morning, possibility rests with new mercy. And I want people to get to a place of freedom from whatever it is that they've ever gone through, whether it was at their own doing or at the doing of another, and realize that anything that they desire is possible. As you say, if it's in your mind, it is in your future if you allow it to be so, if you give it the possibility to be so.
I love that. I want to just ask one more question before we share how listeners can connect with you. And you've shared this publicly, so it's not a violation of your privacy or confidentiality. But in this season that we're in of lockdown and pandemic and COVID-19, you shared how you overcame your COVID-19 diagnosis and how, while it was extremely difficult for you physically, it unlocked some things in you spiritually. Can you just share a part of your overcoming COVID-19? Because we hear so much on a daily basis, all day, how many people are dying. I want you to give hope in this moment to someone who may be positive, who still may be having lingering effects of COVID-19. But would you please do that in this moment for someone who is listening, who needs that shot of hope as it relates to COVID-19?
So COVID-19 is something that I consider an opportunity. It is an opportunity to get still, to realign, and to reconnect with your higher power, but also with your physical self. During my experience, there are some people that are dying from COVID. I wanted to die in that moment. I prayed and asked God, if you go take me out, come on and come get me. This right here doesn't work for me. But in those moments of extreme physical pain, when I allowed myself to just settle, I was able to ascend mentally to a place of peace and to a place of connection with God like I had never done before. And in that moment, my purpose, which had begun to kind of not wax cold, but become a little blurry, was very much refined and sharpened. And after 5 or 6 days of that excruciating pain and the fever and everything that came along with it, I made a decision that I was done with it. And that night, I had a conversation with God. And I said, so either when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to be on the other side in glory, or this is going to be done because I have work to do. And I woke up the next morning, the fever had broke, the pain was gone, and I could smell again. I say all that to say this. I've endured breast cancer diagnoses. I've endured all manners of illness. It was in the moment that I made a decision that this does not work for me, and I detached my emotions to the physical pain that I was experiencing and placed my emotions back on possibility of what it could look like on the other side of this, is when they broke, or when the miraculous, we don't see the lump anymore, happened. And so if you are experiencing this, get yourself to a place where you are not wallowing in your emotions that are connected to the physical pain. Figure out a way to ascend beyond or above the pain and connect with God. And I guarantee you will see results. And then on the other side of that, you'll be grateful that you had that type of experience, because you'll get clarity where you need it.
Listen, that is soul wealth, sisters and brothers. That is soul wealth. How can our listeners connect with you, Kelli?
Right now, you can connect with me on Instagram at I am Kelli Ware, KelliWare. There you can contact me via DM, and we can connect and get to work.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you to those of you listening to the Soul Wealth Radio Show here on 96.3 HD4 and DCRadio.gov. Please visit my website, VikkiJohnson.com. All things Vikki on most social media platforms, and that's VIKKI. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, All Things Vikki Johnson. And remember, soul wealth is your birthright. It is your inheritance. So I invite you to go out into the world, live full so you can die empty. Until next time, peace.
You've been listening to Soul Wealth, wealthy conversations that nurture the soul with Dr. Vikki Johnson. Soul Wealth is not just a brand. It's a lifestyle of vision, compassion, authenticity, abundance, and legacy created one conversation, one choice at a time. For more information, visit VikkiJohnson.com or click on Soul Wealth at DCRadio.gov.